Welcome in. I'm Shane Doyle, and we have a ton to get to today as the fall sports have started their non-conference schedules, and some have been able to get off the ground while others have been struggling a bit. I bring in my QBSN contributors, Tim Schultz, Kevin Casarino, and Andrew Badillo. For the women's soccer team so far, it's been a struggle a bit, as they have only scored 3 goals in 4 games. Over the weekend, they lost to Brown 1-0 and then tied Holy Cross 0-0. Where do you guys think the goals are going to come from for this team?
I mean, it's going to probably have to be Anya McKeever so far. You look at the soccer team, women's soccer team's been outscored 9-2 so far, and it's been a struggle to score. Anya McKeever has that experience. She's a senior. This is a very young team. You look at the team, you have 6 freshmen, 9 sophomores. So they're going to need that leadership moving forward. Anya McKeever can provide that. She's been there 4 years. She's scored in each of her 4 years so far here at Quinnipiac, and I think she can get the job done.
Do you guys think anyone other than the senior McKeever can really step up and show spurts that they can play at this level?
Well, yeah, I mean, the freshman Jessica Fontaine, she's already had a goal. She's kind of brought in that needed freshman goal scoring, kind of picked up the slack for McKeever. So I sort of feel like, they're looking more towards Fontaine and as that freshman experience that they've sort of been lacking. So yeah, that's about it.
And Kevin, do you think that maybe someone who we haven't talked about, we talked about Fontaine, McKeever, can really help out this team? Or do you think the defense might have to step up and kind of carry this offense while they go through some growing pains?
Well, I think the defense is definitely helping them out. What they say is the best defense is a good offense. But I think that the offensive growth and the way that they're going to score goals is through Anya McKeever. I think she is the senior, and I think she's very well known with the offense. So I think it's going to have to go through her if we're going to start winning games and scoring goals.
And then Tim, do you think that what do you think they should kind of play to the attack? Do you think they should try and go up the middle more, on the sidelines, free kicks? What should be the corner kicks? What do you think they should try and tend to lean towards?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily just the offense. Look at the team right now. Defensively, they've given up 9 goals in 4 games. That's not going to get the job done. You're going to have to do much better on offense and defense. And you look at offense, they're just going to have to mix some things up so far. They've struggled pretty mightily, you could say, being outscored 9-2. So I don't think you can really look at it prospectively, one side of the ball compared to another.
And then you look to the men's soccer team who squared off against Boston College from the ACC and Lafayette of the Patriot League. They came away with 2 ties for the weekend. Do you think this team can they were picked preseason 6th in the MAC. Do you think they can exceed those expectations? BC being an ACC team, they showed that they could hang with them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, last year in the NAC, they did really well. They lost a lot of their offensive scoring with Phil Surprise. Machelle Baker and Simon Hine have sort of picked up the slack for that this year. But I think really, as Kevin said, best offense is a good defense with Borja and Goita. They're a preseason All-MAC goalie. I think that's where they're really going to look to sort of stabilize their team this year and make some noise in the MAC.
And Kevin, what do you think? He's talking about Simon Hine, Machelle Baker. Do you think that those two can lead that offense while Goita kind of is the key in the back?
Yeah, I absolutely think that they can help with scoring in the offense. I think that they're 2 very talented forwards, and yeah, I absolutely think they can.
And then Goita, preseason All-MAC, first-team player. Do you think that he is going to have to carry it, or do you think those Machelle Baker, Simon Hine, offensive players can really be able to stay up and continue to score, or do you think it's going to have to, at times, it's going to be Borja and Goita give us a win?
I think you're just going to have to go with a mixed bag at this point. You look at last season, Philip Surprise is gone. A couple of the other seniors. This is a team that it's not necessarily a very freshman-laden team, sophomore-laden. They have some experience. They're going to have to really just have a balanced attack going at it. I think Quinnipiac, they can definitely go up, like you said, being predicted to finish 6th out of 11 in the conference. So I think the sky's the limit right now. Obviously, they're in the middle of the pack. They've played pretty decently so far. They've only been outscored 6-5 in their 4 games. So I think they can definitely go up. They've looked pretty solid so far.
And then, Andrew, do you think that you see 6th place, middle of the pack, they're coming off the winning the regular season in their last season in the NEC? Do you think they can really make a move to that top 4 maybe?
I mean, I think they can. Monmouth also moved with them from the NEC to the MAC. I think that they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. I don't think that they really think. I think they think that they can, challenge and beat Monmouth and also some of the other teams that they got placed behind. They still have that great defense, Borja and Goita. I think, they just really need to bear down and get some goal scoring. Baker and Hind have done that so far. And I think that's really the key, just score by committee, and Borja and Goita just staying strong. And I think, they got it.
And then in the back, don't forget about Brandon Straingood, a senior, been starting all 4 years. And then Kevin, you look towards that head coach, Eric DaCosta, really a good leader. Do you think he has the ability to lead this team into a new conference? Going to have to do new scouts, things like that.
Absolutely, he's an excellent coach, and the fact of the matter is everyone's going to look to him, and I think that he's a great leader and that he can get the job done.
Okay, well, when we come back, we're going to head from the soccer field to the turf. We'll be right back here on Bobcat Breakdown. Back here on Bobcat Breakdown, we're going to discuss rugby now. The rugby team last year had an impressive season. They are looking to build it this year as they bring back a bevy of players and are looking to build towards a national championship. Do you guys think that a national championship is a possibility here, Kevin? We'll start with you.
Yeah, I absolutely think that a national championship could be ours this year. We, of course, returned Natalie Costco, one of the best rugby players I've ever seen, and she's already had 7 tries in 2 games. So that's obviously something that we're really proud of, and hopefully she can keep leading us.
And then Andrew, moving to a new conference, how does that affect them? Tougher schedule this year.
Well, I think it really energizes them more, obviously moving to that tougher schedule. They got Norwich, which is an excellent rugby team, Harvard, which is only the 2nd time they're playing them in Division I history, so that's really impressive. They had a lot of their freshman class, very experienced bunch according to the coach. The sky's the limit this year with the talent that's coming in, the experience they had last year, so expect big things for the rugby team this year.
And then Tim, like I mentioned, bring back a ton of players. How can they use that run they went on last year to kind of help propel them going forward into this new conference and bigger expectations?
I mean, you look at it last season. They had such a dominant season last year, 15-1. And you're going to obviously have that rivalry with Eastern Illinois, which you got off to a great start this year, winning 65-7. So, I mean, they have the experience for sure. They're definitely in good shape. And what's something that's gone unnoticed this year, when you look at the schedule they've put together, is that in their 11 games, 7 of the 11 are going to be on the road. That's a tough schedule. That's not going to be easy. But can they do it? Absolutely. Anything's possible with college rugby at this point.
And then, Kevin, you think that's possible? You think that the coach is able to move them to a new conference? They've already started the season strong, and you think that it's a possibility going forward to really propel them?
Absolutely. I believe that the coach installed that, winning is expected through the rugby program, and I think that they're going to produce for him wins.
And now we move on to field hockey, who plays right next to rugby at the turf field. A pair of losses from the field hockey team was not what they were looking for this past weekend, as they were trying to build off a win against LaSalle. They now sit at 1-3 on the young season. We know it's only 4 games in, but any reason to panic about this team?
Yeah, I think that you got to get worried. You have to be a little worried. They're projected 2nd in the MAC preseason poll. They're nearly getting outscored by the double amount that they're scoring, 4 goals against. So, I know that they played Syracuse, who is up there in the rankings. They're an excellent team, but I do think there is some cause for concern with this field hockey team.
Let me just play devil's advocate here. A lot of seniors on this team, a lot of leadership. Do you think that these leaders can kind of push through this tough start they've had? Because I've seen them the last couple of years kind of produce throughout the years. Do you think that maybe this is just a beginning kind of struggle and that the seniors can kind of write the passage, Kevin?
Yeah, I think so. The first 3 losses they had were against very good teams in Maine, Boston College, and so what was the Syracuse, right? Syracuse being one of the top-ranked teams in the nation. So, again, I think that they have a tough schedule, but I think they can get through it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You look at the schedule so far this year. I mean, they have had a tough start, 1-3 to the season. I don't think you can be necessarily worried about this team. They've been there, they've done it before, they have the experience. But I think a big key is you can't let a lot of this lie on the hands of Kristen Engelke and Jess Rusin. There has to be some support there. You look at some of the players this year. They brought in Leah Dietrichs over from Germany. She's supposed to be a big-time scorer. So they're going to have to get some other, some kind of continuity, whether it's on offense or defensively. They've been outscored 17-11 so far this year. That's not where they want to be. They have to do a better job of that. So they're going to have to move forward. I wouldn't be worried about it, but it's never good to be off to a 1-3 start. They're going to improve, I think, as the season goes along.
And Andrew, you've kind of said you're a bit concerned. What are you most concerned about? Goalie, forward, defense, leadership? What's the main issue?
For me, I think it's the goal scoring. I mean, Kristen Engelke, as stated previously, they've been kind of relying on her for the goals. I know the last game they scored a couple, or earlier in the season at that A6 tournament, they scored a couple goals. But I mean, it is really early. I think there is cause for concern, but certainly I don't think the season's far. I think the season's far from over. They have a lot of seniors on the team. The leadership certainly is there. I think they're just going through a tough time, but they have to be careful. They can't get too careless, obviously.
And Kevin, the MAC is a couple weeks away still, so you think they can kind of get rid of these problems that they've seen so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they can get on the right track and hopefully build some momentum and end up going into the MAC and playing the teams. So.
Okay, well, after this break, we're going to find out if our experts think that if men's basketball can compete against a Pac-12 team here on Bobcat Breakdown. And the volleyball team is in a state of transition here as they bring in 6 new faces into the program, 8 underclassmen total. Coach Saplinski, though, is confident that this group is a group that will start the foundation moving forward. Do you guys think, not right now, but do you think that this team can compete in the MAC within the next couple of seasons? We'll start with you, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree that this team could be the foundation for future teams in the next couple of years. They have 6 freshmen, so once they mature through the progress and mature through their years, I think that they're going to have quite a good team.
And then Andrew, you see six freshmen, you see some growing pains so far, 0-5 on the young season. Do you think, though, that moving forward, it can be a growing process this season?
This season, definitely. They're getting a lot of playing time. The coach is definitely giving them a shot to sort of prove themselves. I think this year is going to be more of a growth, as you said, growing pains, development year. They're only losing, I think, 2 or 3 seniors or so. So, I mean, it's been a struggle this year for the volleyball team. They've had some really tough losses. They've only, they haven't really competed that much, but they have a lot of young players, and I think that the future is very bright for this volleyball organization.
I mean, and you look at it, yeah, they're 0-5 this year. You never want to be that down in the loss column like that. But, you look at the teams they've played, Texas State, Lamar, Houston, SMU, Providence. Those are good teams.
No slouches.
Those are not slouches whatsoever. So they're going to build on that. They have a very young roster. Like you said, there are 2 seniors, Logan Riker, Bonnie Conklin. So they should be fine moving forward for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 2 seniors hopefully will absolutely lead them to where they need to be and guide their progress through their years.
And then you talking about that senior leadership. You have 5th-year senior Logan Riker, great player for this team. I got to speak with her last week for a QBSN article. Check that out on QBSN.com. But getting back here, I think that Logan Riker can really be that leadership and that bridge. Even though she's 5 years older than these players, she's confident that she can be the leader for this team, Andrew.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's sort of taken some of the freshmen under their wing, definitely teaching them the ropes. I know there's 6 of them, as we stated previously, a very young team. So to sort of see them struggle, it's no surprise. But at the same time, it's very good that they have senior leadership to sort of guide them in the right direction.
And she's the kind of person you want to have that can show that leadership. She's been here for 5 years, so she has that experience of winning and losing, good times and bad. So she's the person you're going to want to go to. And also Bonnie Conklin as well. She's been here for 4 years also. So they've experienced pretty much everything. They're the people you want to go to in times of good and bad.
And now switching from Burt Conn to the TD Bank up on York Hill. Men's basketball announced their non-conference schedule that features games against LaSalle during the ESPN's 24-hour tip-off marathon, and then later during conference play, they head out west to face Pac-12 foe Oregon State. Also highlighted in there, you got Albany, a good team, you got Maine and BU. So what do you guys think about this, and how has the MAC really affected how they schedule? Because before this, LaSalle wouldn't be on the schedule in the NEC. So you think that the MAC affected this schedule? Andrew?
I think definitely. You know, the move to the MAC, better basketball conference, they're all basketball, the MAC. It's definitely an upgrade from the NEC, I feel. You know, they got LaSalle on that morning tip-off at 9 a.m. on ESPN. That's great for Quinnipiac. And now obviously they got the move to, they're going out to Oregon to play Oregon State, a Pac-12 team. That's experience that Quinnipiac has never really had before for basketball. You know, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving to the MAC is definitely bringing in more competition to Quinnipiac, and playing Oregon State is really going to be a good experience for everyone on the team.
But Tim, don't sleep on those smaller teams that have been on the schedule, like Boston University, Albany, Vermont. Those teams are still competitive, even though you got the Sweet 16 team in LaSalle and Oregon State, a Pac-12. What do you think about those?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the schedule, people are going to look to Oregon State. You're going to see those big names. But the one school you look at as well, Albany, they made the tournament last year. And Vermont lost to Albany in the conference championship game, a team that has given Quinnipiac problems the last few years. But I think I'm going to have to be the guy to say that the one game I was hoping for this year most likely wasn't going to happen. I wanted a rematch with UConn from in the Virgin Atlantic, the Virgin Island tournament last year. Because for Quinnipiac to come that close to beating UConn, that would have been a heck of a game. Probably would have been a blowout. Who knows? Anything can happen, as you saw last season in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah, I mean, going off of that UConn, that would have been great to see that game. But, you know, also I know we're talking about non-conference, but going into the MAC too, they're playing some really impressive teams. You know, Manhattan, Iona, it's going to be a fight every night in the MAC. It's going to be really exciting. It's just Manhattan, you know, Iona in that MAC title game last year was really close, and Iona past 2 years going into the tournament. It's going to be really exciting this year.
And then you look at the MAC, and you see all those competitive teams. In a blog came out yesterday, Daily Dose of Hoops, Quinnipiac ranked number 4 in that poll. John Rothstein from CBS last week had them in 6th. So we have seen a 4, we've seen a 6. Where do you see this team coming in the standings come the MAC, Kevin?
I see them around the 4 to 6 range. I think more experience in the MAC will get them higher up actually on the standings.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the standings. Like you said, preseason totals, when you have a team that's changing conferences like this, there's going to be some fluctuation in where they're going to be predicted to go. 4, 5, 6 range, that seems about right. But Quinnipiac's going to be competitive. This is not going to be a team that comes in here just because they're changing conferences. It doesn't mean they're going to be at the bottom of the conference. This is a conference that Quinnipiac can compete in. These are teams that they've played in the past, they've beaten. They played Iona last year in the Virgin Atlantic tournament, and they beat them. So it's definitely this is a conference Quinnipiac can make a run. Who knows? Maybe they even make a run at going to the NCAA tournament and winning the MAC.
And a team that's led by their forwards and centers. You got Usman Drame, you got Ike Azotam. What do you think about those two players and their ability to translate from the NEC to the MAC?
Well, I think the competition is definitely going to be tougher for those two players. Obviously, going up against Manhattan and Iona, two great teams. As you said, they beat Iona last year in that Virgin Island tournament. But I think it's just going to be the competition. They're going to have to adjust sort of to the mid-major play of the MAC rather than the low major play of the NEC. But I think that they'll be up to the task, and I think that you should expect some pretty exciting things out of Quinnipiac in the MAC this year.
And while we might be excited to head up and start winter sports, fall sports are still continue as conference play comes to a head soon. For all information, stay tuned to Q30 and QBSN. Follow QBSN on Twitter at QBSN and follow Q30 Sports at Q30 Sports. If you're looking to get involved in Q30, email them at q30television@gmail.com. If you're interested in QBSN, check them out at theqbsn.com. I'm Shane Doyle. Thank you all for joining me tonight, and everyone, have a great week.